So let me give a context on the theme, why we have selected the themes and how it is going to add. So navigating the frontiers of emerging technologies. So when we talk about emerging technologies in recent times have produced disruptive changes all over the world, fostering innovation in industries, challenging business models, as well as the way we communicate, we work. With challenge technological changes transitioning from progressive rate to an exponential rate of development, there is considerable consensus that the sudden reality of the pandemic has become a driver and the accelerator on the accelerating data digital transformation. On this backdrop, I will start with the first question for Ritesh Bhatia. So this will be, emerging technologies are a game changer for business. By embracing these advances and strategically implementing them, companies can unlock a range of benefits that drive business value, improve efficiency. So what is your take on it?
So, well, we were talking about AI, even in the earlier panel, and even Mr. Sahu, Sahu was also mentioning about it in the AI. Now, being a cybercrime investigator, I just want to, wherever I go, I just speak only on the dark side of it, with whatever technology you're talking about it. Now, let us look at the BFSI sector only. As far as the AI, you've been talking about ChatGPT, but just imagine the entire, one of the product, the source code of Samsung, it got stolen away because of the same ChatGPT. Now, earlier Amit was also talking about the deep fakes, but just imagine what happened 15 days back in Hong Kong. 4 people come on a Zoom call, on a virtual call. There is the CFO, there is another guy who's a director, there's a third guy who's also at a senior level in the finance, and then there is this accounts guy. These 3 people are discussing that, okay, yeah, we need to transfer this $25 million to a particular place, and the accountant says yes, but we can't do this transaction in one shot. So the director says, yeah, do it in 5-6 shots. He says, no, not even in 5-6 transactions it will happen. It may take 10 transactions. This guy says, the CFO says, fine, go ahead. Do I have the approval of the other 2? The other 2 say yes. And this is all happening on a virtual call. And what happens is, the $25 million, so we are talking about 200 crore rupees, they get transferred. The 4 people who were sitting there, only the accountant was the real guy. The other 3 were deep fakes.
Wow.
The other 3 were deep fakes. So just imagine, so we are at an era wherein now, and this is what I always say, you cannot trust. So when it comes to the cyberspace, remember one thing, trust and privacy, both these things are a myth. And we need to understand that sabka katega.
You're right.
Sabka katne wala hai. Whatever it is, I know now when I'll go out, you will often see me on televisions also. We've been talking about digital arrest. My friend Prashant was sitting with me. Usne bola, yaar, mera 20,000 rupees 2 baar chala gaya. I said, it's okay. Sabka katne wala hai. So hence, it's very, very important that how are we going to respond to all these emerging technologies? What is our preparedness is something that we really need to think about.
Thank you. So I will move on to Ravi, Dr. Ravi. So how you will address?
I think what we need to bring to the table is create more awareness among the people. Because as he said, sabka katega, but let's minimize that. Because unless we create awareness, it's very difficult to control. Because we know that even if we tell people, don't click on the link which you are not sure of, but still people do that. Because the titles are given in such an attractive way that people get tempted. And then they click on the link and then it goes somewhere else and something wrong happens in the process. So it's the emerging technology has given more, the helping hand to the hackers and less to the people who are the defenders. So we need to think about it and see how we can safeguard the informations by not misusing it.
Well, let's understand from Anurag, what is your say on it?
Yeah, thank you first of all for having me on this panel. I think emerging technologies, ChatGPT, for example, again, everyone keeps talking about it, but Sam Altman kind of gave a very clear solution. Either you cut down your workforce and embrace ChatGPT's outstanding performance, or you empower that workforce and make them produce tenfolds. And I think there's considerable, it's good to be bullish about this sector because things are growing, and vision technologies were just a fad a few years ago, but now they're actually converting into some usable applications. So I think it's the right time for this kind of tech in labor-intensive markets like India, or even sectors like warehouses or blue-collar workers. This is very interesting because it will have an impact on their jobs. At the same time, when we do a very clear ROI analysis on every dollar spent on legacy status quo technologies versus some of the new age AI technologies, you will find the AI technologies are like 5x better in terms of ROI compared to the first. That's why I think rather than replacing labor with new emerging tech, there is a potential for cobotic relationships, collaborative robotics, and that would actually see the value of these technologies come to fruition without having something else to hamper, like workforce, cutting down on workforce.
Anurag, you are running a successful startup that you have made. The company name is Ambience Intelligence. What exactly you do?
Right. So our company tries to bridge the reality gap in between information systems and physical systems. That includes a lot of connecting with existing ground sensors that could be cameras, IoT sensors that exist or to be brought in separately to collect ground data, crunch and filter that information against rules that is important to business, give visibility to business, and allow them to make decisions. This on a scale of huge retailers who have thousands and thousands of stores all across India becomes critical. Again, people are the ones managing the operations of these stores, these warehouses. So it's very important that we work with them in making their stores, their warehouses better and more efficient.
Great. So we just take input from the Dr. Biswajit. He is having the tens of patents. So what Biswajit has to say on it? We have been meeting so many startups, so many matured startups, enterprises. You have a different takeaway.
Absolutely. So, first of all, thank you for giving me this pleasant surprise. I was mostly prepared to listen, but now I'm part of the panel. Right. So, we need to really look at what's really changing all around us. Right. The world is today more intelligent, more interconnected, and more instrumented because of the technology. Right. And if you look at the evolution of new business paradigm, that's happening around all of us. And it's happening across 3 dimensions. The first dimension is all about new business model, and that's what probably, Anurag, you're talking about, right? Every industry, and you saw many partners presenting earlier today, every industry is trying to reinvent the business model and reshape the industry. That's the first dimension. And second dimension is all about new way of doing things. What does that mean? That more focus on actionable insights. I think Ritesh talked about AI, the positives and negatives of AI, right? I think you also talked about the value of AI, right? So slowly, I think the entire industry is moving from what we call as plus AI, right? Few years back, people are experimenting and thinking that, okay, let's try AI as a plus to my business. But now, if you really look at that, has changed to what I call as AI plus. Everything starts with AI today. So whether we like it or not, it's going to be there. So how do we really bring right governance, right policies to make things work? That's what should be the second dimension that I talk about. The third dimension is all about how do you really build new expertise? It's all about building restless talent. I think Mr. Sahu also talked about that, right? How do you really do the talent transformation in the new era of doing things? How do you make your developers 10x productive leveraging those technologies? I think every organization is trying to focus on that today. And the other parameter is what I call as orchestrated ecosystem. Orchestrated ecosystem is all about, there is nothing called competition today, right? I call it as competition. Your competition and your cooperation. To meet your customers' end objective, how do you really work with your competition to give your customer the better and richer user experience? That should be the mantra basically, right? And all these 3 dimensions are really changing across the next gen technologies that we talked about, whether it's AI, ML, Gen AI you call, whether it's blockchain, whether it's IoT, whether it's data, right? Data is, I call it data is new water probably, right? You can't survive without data today, right? Or the intelligent workflows that you probably building, right? So all those technologies are going to drive the future of the organizations, and we need to build right guardrails to ensure that that works for all of us. That's what I'll say.
Wonderful, wonderful. You have put in the right track, and I will have a next move to question to Pankaj. Pankaj, you are already running a consultancy group and you are running so many organizations. You are also investor in the certain startups. So how is the need for acquiring new skills in every changing dynamics of cybersecurity? And secondly, on this aspect, how do you see Gen AI threat or boom to cyber landscape?
Trickier one, but I think any new technology which is coming takes time to mature. When blockchain came, we said this is a solution, but we are looking from a problem. When cloud came, we said it is good for rains. Gen AI came, and now we are seeing double-sided sword on both sides of it. Every technology takes its own time to mature, but I think we are on the track and seeing the adoption both in SMEs, large organizations, banking sectors, telcos. Some right use cases are coming in. On the skill side, I think we heard from one of the speakers earlier, we need to equip the new people with new skills. Or we used to say that, Gen AI is going to cut down everything. So why not empower them with new technologies, new learning, new skills? The current ecosystem or the education system is still rudimentary in place. We need to have these people understand what is AI, what is Gen AI, what is machine learning. Again, the old antidote we have been talking, data is the new oil, but for oil you need refineries, which means you need intelligent analysis of what raw data you have in place. Similar to the technology, the people we are currently coming out of the education ecosystems are just industrial workers. They need to be intelligent workers at some point of time. So I see that, it will take some time to get this maturity coming in over.
Wonderful. So I have a question to Bhaskar. As a significant player in the BFSI sector, bank handles a multitude financial transactions. How does the bank ensure the integrity and security of financial data, and what innovation measures are in place to protect against evolving cyber threats?
Good evening, everyone. So this is actually a very difficult question what you have given, because protection of data is in the banking is very difficult. Because the role of a CISO is not only to protect the infrastructure of the bank, but also to protect the transaction executed by the customer. This is a very difficult task actually. As far as the bank is concerned, we are having multi-layers. As a bank is concerned, we are using a zero trust network. We are using. We have all kind of security layers. We talk about firewall, DLP, the NAC solutions. Then we are working on a micro segmentation. Completely, all the servers, they are not talking to each other. Completely in the what you call container kind of security we have been. Not only that, if you see one of the largest attack in the Indian financial institution, this is again the cooperative bank. The cooperative bank is the 94 crore attack which took place on the cooperative bank, which was one of the largest attack on the Indian financial institution. See, we learned from that. I'll tell you, there's a different layers. When you come to the banking industry, there's a different layer. When you talk about private sector, it's altogether different because they have a power, they have a people, they can manage, they have money, they can manage it. But when you come down to the cooperative level, it's very difficult for the cooperative bank actually. See, we don't have people to manage. If you come down to the cooperative bank, how many people are there to manage? There's very hardly anybody. Even you see CISOs, this is the regulator who insisted on putting CISOs. The bank doesn't put CISOs. This is the regulator who said you have to put CISOs. That is why today we have few CISOs. But when you implement all those infrastructure and you can generate alert, now you assume it, who is going to manage those alerts? Who is going to monitor those alerts? There are hardly few people. Because presently the kind of alert generated by the micro-segmentation, by the DLP, or you talk about firewalls and SIM, all these need to be, we implemented all those things, but need to be monitored by somebody. Until unless you monitor, it is of no use. So when you talk about the technology, I think AI is definitely going to play a very important role in the security, because the kind of event it is generating, you need an AI solution which can actually filter out and give only those alerts, the critical alert or high alert, those things can be monitored, can be managed. So those such kind of things are required not only in the level but at customer side also. We do a lot of integration with the security. You talk about WAP, WAS we talk about, we do a lot of security analysis, we do VAPT, you talk kind of things, and source code audit. So many other layers we put behind the application which we are managing. So at both the level you talk customer as well as the bank, both the things is a difficult job for the CISO to manage both the end.
I'm sure that you are also considering for the data security. So anyone want to add what Bhaskar said? Someone want to add?
Sir, everybody wants to go for the beer.
Okay, so we'll go for the beer, and because I know it is dear to everyone. So I have now a question to Ritesh. What according to you the trending AI-based cyber crimes that BFS segment could potentially face? How should one prepare and measure and organize incident response readiness?
So like he's already so much worried. आपने देख लिया करेक्ट कि कितना कुछ रेगुलेटर ने डाला पड़ा है, ऊपर से मैंने बोल दिया आपका कटेगा, आपका नहीं सबका कटेगा. हम कॉस्मोस बैंक में भी देख चुके हैं वगैरह, एंड डॉक्टर रवि ऑल्सो सेड अबाउट द अवेयरनेस पार्ट ऑफ इट. कितना भी कर ले, अल्टीमेटली जैसे मैं बताया हूँ कि वी आर गोइंग टू फेस एन इंसिडेंट. So the thing is about how ready are we? Firstly, how much can we minimize the impact? कि अभी जैसे आपके क्रेडिट कार्ड्स है, आपका लिमिट होएगा 5 लाख का. Have you reduced your limit कि okay, not more than 50,000 can go on an online transaction? If you have not done that, so how are you going to minimize the impact? Because your credit card is going to get compromised. You forget that OTP and everything. ये सब पुराने जमाने की चीजें हो गई. You're still going to get compromised. So how are you going to minimize that impact is extremely important. So all those tools are already given to you, but we are the ones who are not implementing. So we have to go with this particular thing. जैसे जब कोविड हुआ था कि मेरे को कोविड होने वाला है, अगर हुआ तो मैं कहाँ जाऊँगा, कौन से हॉस्पिटल में जाऊँगा, कौन से डॉक्टर के पास जाऊँगा. The same thing with incident response. It's extremely important. How ready are you? Let's say we've been talking about that stupid ransomware. It is going to remain there. In fact, because of this AI, it is just going to get more powerful, and your chances of getting affected are now like 10 times. So you're going to get infected. Even if you have the backup, these people, the ransomware gangs, have decided that the minimum that they're going to ask you is 3% of your annual turnover. They know everything about you. So then from where will you arrange that crypto at that point of time? Is your CFO on the board? Is your management on the board? Is your HR, the ones who are going to handle the media and everything? Are they all together? Have we done drills? Have we done a tabletop exercise? खाली एक बार बुला और बोलो ऐसा हुआ तो क्या? This is the most important thing. So even from an IT infra, you people mostly are into IT infra, tell them sir अगर ये हुआ तो क्या? हम बोलते नहीं हाँ आपने ये लगा दिया अभी कुछ नहीं होएगा. मैं बोल रहा हूँ आप कुछ भी कर लो ये हुआ तो क्या? You just go with that concept.
Yes, you are right. So now we have got flavor of the panelist, what everyone there knows, how they can respond. Now we to Bhaskar.
I just wanted to add certain things. See, today what is happening, awareness is going to play one of the major role.
Correct.
I'll give you a few instances, so, if you can see. See, like OTP, what happened? In the banking, somebody phone calls and say, okay, I'm calling from somewhere and we sent one OTP. And the person is not aware of it, the OTP belongs to what? And sometimes he shared it. This is how I can't share in the public forum, but there are instances the person shared the OTP. The attacker, he logged into the machine, he registered that lady or the person on the UPI and transferred the amount within few minutes. You can't do anything on that. Even you put any damn security behind the machine, but ultimately this is human awareness which is more and more important. And we focus more on that. We are not only training our own people, the person who's sitting on the counter. We are training them how to do it. Even the person who's sitting on the counter, he has to train the people who are coming inside the bank how to use it. See, I'll tell you, there's one survey recently, I've seen earlier it used to be like the aged people are more vulnerable, but now it is changed. If you see the trend, between 21 to 30, the trend is changed to 21 to 30 because more attacks are taking place between 21 to 30 rather than the aged people. So the trend is completely changed because this is the age where people are behind the money or behind something or the other they are interested. So this is the trend actually changed. Now it is reversed than what I just wanted to add.
In this month only, we have find out 5 frauds in the banks, major frauds.
So
We published already. Anyway, up to
people are your base line of defense, basically, right? And many of the times, some of these things happen because of the insider threats to a large extent, right? So how do you really manage that? So we have devised a mechanism, what we call as security behavioral response score, right? And it's a kind of gamified way of dealing with security and making people aware and making people learn as well, right? So at the start of the year, you give your team members, let's say, score of 200. And every time they follow a good security practice, the score goes up. And every time they do not follow the practice, the score goes down. And end of the year, you get that score. And based on that, you know what is the training needs, awareness of those people in the same time. You can use that for their promotion, salary increment, whatever it is, right? So that motivates people to learn more and kind of follow the security practices better. And having said that, I will not name, since I consult a lot of the banks. So a bank got attacked by ransomware, right? And nothing happened. No action was taken, right? And after 3 months, there was a second attack on the same bank. I'm sure probably many of you know this bank name, right? And when I asked the CISO what action you took, the CISO's answer was, since we got attacked once, we assume that second time it's not going to happen. I don't think we get into that kind of situation, basically, right? Pure awareness. Of course, the CISO lost his job, and I'm sure now many of you must have guessed which bank is this. But, or you're worried now that your account is there. But whatever it is, the true thing is that this awareness is important, and in the same time, there are multiple gamified ways to really make people aware of how to do things and manage things.
awareness and knowledge is very important. Let's understand from our panelists how they respond to the single question. So as a technology leader, how do you navigate the balance between leveraging data for business growth and complying with the data privacy regulations like DPDP Act? I will start with Sahu.
Yeah, sure. I think it's a very tricky one. When we're talking about PII data, and we're talking about using images and maybe cameras deployed in stores to collect data of customers, have that analyzed, generate heat maps, understand age profiles, gender profiles, it becomes tricky. And I think there are some places where people are linking it with the actual ID of the user so that marketing messages can be sent to you right at the shelf edge. Like when you are making that decision that I don't want to buy this product, that's when it will be 10 rupees off and a message will come on your phone. So I think things are becoming more adaptive. It enables this hyper mass personalization of goods and services to users. So there's definitely a benefit to it, and I think if that is articulated clear enough, at the same time we need new protocols for how do we redact, like we say, data safeguard. What is the protocol to do this data redaction on top of images when you're doing this kind of analysis or any unstructured data? I think this is now taking it to a new level. So we are ourselves experimenting with different strategies to do this so that the analytics or insights we show to our customers are completely anonymized. And there is a certain roadmap, and I'm sure everyone in the world is thinking about privacy and consent. In such systems, how do you get that consent that I can get onto this brand loyalty platform? And once I grant that consent, how do I consent? How is my data maintained? Am I still privately, or am I recognizable by the whole retail chain? How far does this go? So I think there are new protocols to be in place. The technology is ready to do this scalably, but this AI governance and protocols need to be in place for us and startups especially to allow us or guide us what is the right direction. Until then, we have to set our own protocols and find our own paths to navigate around these things.
Right.
But yeah.
You're right. Over to Pankaj.
Privacy is going to be a big trillion industry coming over. Now, we have said that security was one and privacy was the cousin. But then, as he rightly said, consent and taking this data. A simple example, in HR manager, take the blood group data of all employees during COVID. And he said, I will help each other if something goes wrong. Somebody in Europe sued the organization after he left the job. And no clarity on what will go right and wrong. The only one of the biggest or the best way to do is creating awareness sessions, letting them know what you are collecting, how are you processing this data, for what purpose are you processing this data. And while we will have consent managers, but I think privacy is going to grow, and it can only reduce your challenges and issues by creating nothing else except for creating more awareness in the common citizen. So tech is one part of it, but then there is the other part of it. On the Gen AI side of it, there are technologies coming in already in place, and we know some of these startups across the globe. The outcome of Chat GPT can be redacted.
Okay.
Okay, and it can be redacted to an accuracy level where it is picking the PI data. And this company got globally funded now, one of these startups in Europe. So these guys are doing work. So when we have a law, we also know how to break the law, but then we also know how to safeguard the law.
Wonderful. You are right. Bhaskar.
Data protection is definitely going to play an important role in the banking sector because we are directly dealing with the customer. And this is a huge data. And all PII data is very critical. And regulator is also talking about encryption of all PII data. So, see, protection of that data, not only which is residing within the data center, but also the data which is lying in the branches, like the physical data. If you take a snap of the physical data, and if it goes out of the network, and if it is proved that this bank has, the data is leaked, then that is going to create a big problem. So we are working on that, like DLP solution, then container kind of solution, we are working on it. Already we have implemented a lot of things. We are working on it, but we can do only precaution we can take, not more than that.
Yeah. Dr. Ravi.
I think PI data is going to be the thing which we need to protect. Like just an example, when we share our Aadhaar card or PAN card information with an agent, we don't write anything on that for what purpose this is being shared. We should mention on that this is being shared by for this purpose to this particular authority. If you don't do that, then that gets misused because we don't know how many copies of one guy will make and where all they'll distribute. So this needs to be well protected.
You can ask that how you are going to protect my data, what you are taking. So over to Mr. Ritesh.
No, all this we are talking is making no sense to me.
No sense, you are right.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's making no sense.
So what will make the sense?
No, nothing will make the sense.
Okay.
Privacy is a complete myth. Okay, you can just all of you now when you go home now, ask your wives have they ever shopped online lingerie? They would have. All that data is already out. What did they buy? What color? What size? How did they pay? Just imagine for a woman how miserable it can be if I have to come and or somebody has to come and tell my wife that I know that sometime back you bought this and all that. That data is out, it's available, it's there freely floating. I know the lingerie brand also, jahan inka data bahar hai. When I open the sheet, I see thousands of ladies with their name, with their email ID, phone numbers. Just imagine what it is. So whatever we are talking about, so we have to go with this particular thing that abhi hum मतलब इस साइबर की दुनिया में आ गए हैं ना, you have to just forget about this particular privacy. We all have to accept it that this is how it is going to be because we keep about talking. I was just talking about Samsung and AI. He just got an email right now. It just popped up and that's where I went. Samsung AI phone. Samsung has launched a new phone. How? Our microphones. Go to your app settings and go to microphone and see how many apps are actually listening to you right now also. So there is no point only. We talk about making data private and Aadhaar and this and that. It is not going to make any sense. You know, this will go on and we have to take it that this is the new normal.
Right. Dr. Biswajit.
I think I kind of agree with this to great extent. Because as we all know, PHI and PII data is everywhere. Right? Smartphone, smartwatch, my smartphone, the Siri and Alexa that we use at home, the conversation that we are having here, right? Our phone is listening as well, right? So this data is everywhere. So I think there is hardly anything you can do to really stop the data being collected any point of time anywhere, right? Correct, correct. Yeah. But I think having said that, yes.
So like,
Said that, I think we should start taking caution at least the place that we can take basically, right? Of course, like you talked about the awareness, knowledge among common people, right? So at least the basic can start. People should be aware of what to share, what not to share, and if something and if something is not important to share, better not to share that again. At least that much restriction everybody can practice to start with.
so we are already moving, everyone we are moving with the surveillance devices, smartphone. So, so the only things will help. So wonderful, we have a great session from panelists. Thank you very much for their inputs. Thank you very much.